Hey everyone, welcome back to the range. My name is Matt, and you guessed it, it's 9mm ammunition testing day. I've got some of that newer technology, some of those copper external hollow points from G9 Defense. This is their little 80 grain loading, loaded in our two-piece shell shock case. Let's throw this guy on the table and talk about what we're gonna do today. In full transparency, this ammunition was provided to me directly from the manufacturer through a contact at Bowtac or Bowtash, someone correct me in the comments below, Tactical. For all of my ammunition testing, I like to capture velocity from a wide range of barrel lengths so that when you go to use this in your particular firearm, you've got hard data on what you should expect for velocity, because sometimes the figures on the box are not for common barrel lengths. So we've got a 3-inch, 4-inch, 4.5, 7.72, and even a 16-inch. We have our Pro Chrono Digital DLX. It's about 65 to 70 degrees outside today, a little cloudy. After we've done velocity, we do a practical accuracy test, and because I find these particular bullets interesting, we're going to shoot them in gel and against some different barriers to see how they perform, to see where they stack up with a traditional jacketed hollow point. Up first, we'll start with our shortest barrel length, which is our 3-inch Springfield Hellcat. I really love the Apex trigger kit that I have in here, and I really dig the factory sight. Normally with any of my ammunition testing, I'm going to usually fire 10 rounds out of each barrel, but because I have a limited number of this and I want to save some for more barriers, we're only going to shoot 5 rounds out of it. It'll give us a general idea of expected velocity and reliability, but not so much so reliability wise, because you should put, quite a few hundred rounds through your gun for that. Not too bad, 1350 feet per second out of a little 3-inch, can't complain about that. Now for our 4-inch barrel, this is a Glock Model 19 Gen 4 MOS with a Holosun 407C up top. Not too bad, picked up almost 100 feet per second from 1 inch of barrel length. And now our 4.5-inch barrel. This is an AREX Delta Gen 2 long slide. Got a Holosun 507 up top. Almost done with the review on this pistol. I really like this guy. Gained a little bit of velocity there. Let's step up to our pistol caliber carbine barrel lengths. And now for one of my favorite 9mm to shoot, especially with a stock. This is my SBR CZ Scorpion Evo 3 S1. Got lots of HBI parts on this guy. Got the factory stock. This gun is very, very reliable. Good velocity jump there as well. And finally, our king of speed in 9mm, our 16-inch AR-9 that I borrowed from a friend. Someone did comment in a video the other day that I think High Point and the Beretta CX4 Storm made a 19-inch barrel for Canadian export. So there is 9mm longer than 16 inches, but this should give us some maximum velocity potential. And that's it. Really good velocity out of that, 1,800 feet per second. That's about how fast the Spear Gold Dot in the 5.7 pistol is going, but this is double the weight. For our practical accuracy, we step back to about 25 yards. We use the longest barrel length that I have, which is the 16-inch. We use a primary arms Silverline first focal plane 18 power with all those zooms, Mr. Hootie Hoo. It's about 94 5 degrees outside today with humidity, could even be hotter, minimal to no wind. Since I have a limited amount of this ammunition, I only took 3 groups of this. Our best was our first group at 0.521 inches, very good. Now this one, 0.945 inches, I probably pulled that one. Otherwise, look at that, very, very good grouping. And then our final group right here was 0.844. We had 3 right there and probably was getting a little bit lazy because it's hot. But I would consider this a very accurate load. Always, your mileage may vary. You may be firing this out of a handgun, but this is going to give you best case scenario so that you know that this load is going to be accurate. Now it's time to see what this stuff's going to do in gel. We have some 6x6x16 10% clear ballistics gel blocks down yonder. I do believe the front one is a brand new block. We'll take a shot with the 3-inch, the 4.5-inch, 7.72, and 16-inch. And then we have some different barriers that we're going to shoot this against and see how it performs. Hopefully I can place these right where I want them to. Good spot there. And now for our 4.5-inch barrel, this is our A.R.A.N.G.E Delta Gen 2 long slide. Got the Holo Sun with the ACSS reticle up top. Good shot on the block there, good velocity. Now our 7.72-inch CZ Scorpion Evo PCC. And our 16-inch, this is our Palmetto State Armory ARV9, takes our Evo magazines. Well, at least in gel, the wound tracks look rather impressive throughout the entire path of the bullet. Right here around the 14.5-inch mark, nose forward, is the 3-inch. Then up here at the almost 16.5-inch mark is the 4.5-inch. Down here, base forward at 18.5 is the 7.72-inch. And then nose forward right around the 20-inch, maybe 20.5, whatever, is the 16-inch. So very controlled penetration for that lighter, faster, non-deforming bullet. The question would be how this wound track that you see here in this clear gel is correlated to actual wounding in flesh, but not too bad. This is normally what we see with a jacketed hollow point in terms of our cavities in our clear gel. We see this disruption going on, and these ones seem to carry it out a few more inches longer, especially the 4.5-inch. G9 specifically told me this particular 80 grain design was not meant to penetrate soft armor, so I have a Rheimlig level 3A. It's a budget panel down there in front of our clear ballistics gel. We'll take a shot with the 4.5-inch. If it doesn't go through, we'll try with the 7.72-inch, and then we have the 16, but I think at that velocity, that might be the limit for aramid fiber. Usually not a good sign when the panel doesn't jump off the table. We'll also grab a shot from the 3-inch as well. Like I said, it's usually not a good sign when the panel right here doesn't jump off the table. All the way out here to the 15-inch mark is our 4.5-inch barrel. And then back here at the 6-inch mark is the 3-inch barrel. So this 100% aramid fiber panel cannot stop that copper projectile. We've changed out our 3A panel for a more robust one that utilizes polyethylene and aramid fibers. I think this used to be special threat rated at one time from AR-500 Armor for 44 mag up to 1700 feet per second. We'll take another shot again from the 4.5-inch barrel, and I'll go down and check it, and then depending on what I see, we'll change the barrel lengths around. We'll try the 7.72-inch barrel. And we'll grab a 16-inch barrel shot as well. That panel jump is not looking good for the bullet. If you watch my channel enough and you see that the panel's jumping off the test rig, that's a good sign for the panel. Here are our 3 shots and no pass-throughs, folks. You can see that polyethylene back there. Polyethylene is really good at stopping speed, especially copper projectiles and lead. It isn't until you put any kind of hardened materials in there or get them going really, really fast and pointy is when it has problems. But this hybrid panel is definitely an upgrade over the R.A.N.G.E. So that 80 grain, even from the 16-inch, no match against the level 3A hybrid. Now I have a barrier that I always regret shooting. I have some laminated windshield glass. Per the FBI standards, I've got it at 45 degrees. We have the gel 18 inches back. We'll shoot one with the 4.5-inch and maybe one with the 7.72-inch, and hopefully, based on the deflection that I get one in the gel blocks, I stacked them too high so that hopefully we get it in the block. These particular bullet designs I think would excel against barriers because they're not going to deform as much as a jacketed hollow point. Well, I hit right in the glass. Pretty much smoked the one piece, so I didn't even get 2 shots out of it. Well, the good news is I hit the block. Let's take a shot with the longer barrel length and see if this has any effect on its performance. That one was really low. The major downside to shooting our windshield glass is literally you get about 2 shots out of it, then you got to switch to a brand new panel. So our first shot was up here, and then the second shot was actually lower, but I actually hit glass. Got to give me credit there. What I'm noticing is pretty low deflection rates with this particular bullet. I think with our 5.56 and our really fast pointed rounds, there's a chance that you get a lot of deflection. But our 7.72-inch shot was right down here. These are used blocks, they're hard to see. But we have slightly more than 16 inches of penetration. He's right there. Then our 4.5-inch shot is this guy right up here, and almost 16 inches of penetration. Very good. That's good that we're getting that much penetration through a barrier. Now the wound track is not very impressive because it's a solid, but it's still penetrating past our minimum depths. Off camera, I fired a Federal HST 147 grain as well as a Spear Gold Dot G2 147 grain as well out of the 4.5-inch barrel. We got to 14 inches of penetration with the HST, but only 11 inches with the G2. You can tell how hard windshield glass is on our bullet. Beats that guy up pretty well. It did expand a little bit, and it is larger than its original diameter, but we don't have uniform expansion. Time for our box of truth. I have a bunch of 3/4 inch pine boards spaced 1 inch apart down there. I think there's 15 sheets in that box there. We tested this in the past with 5.56, and I've kind of wanted to test it against pistol calibers to see how much these will penetrate. I think with our G9 defense bullet and that solid copper, we're going to see good barrier penetration out of this. We'll do the 3 inch, the 4.5 inch, then maybe the 16 or 7.72 inch. Depends on if I can hit where I want to. Now our 4.5 inch barrel. And now for our PCC, 7.72 inch barrel. And for good measure, we might as well use the 16 inch. Shot that one a little low, mates. Well, this is kind of surprising. I would have thought 9mm would have had a better ability to penetrate all these boards here, but you can see I have a section of them taken out. So our board number 6 right here, the 4.5 inch stopped there. I swapped this board out for a fresh one. Our 7.72 inch stopped in the 6th. Our 16 inch made it through the 6th. It might be because this one down here I aimed too low, might have cracked it and weakened it a little bit. But then right here was the 16 inch, so it made it almost into the 7th board. Board number 5 up here, that was a 3 inch. You can see he stopped there. Number 2 was there. 3, I don't know what happened there, but anyways. And then 4, the bullet is tumbling sideways there. You can see the bullet profile. That was the one I shot too low. So interesting. All of the recovered bullets pretty much look, unfired except for the rifling marks. There's no deformation of that tip at all. Give me a minute and I'll fire some HST that I have on hand off camera and we'll see how that performs. Off camera, I fired some HST and the G2 Spear Gold Dot, both 147 grains from the 16 inch and the 7.72 and the 4.5 inch. And a majority of our rounds were stopping in the 7th to 6 boards. Here's a little easy breakdown here. I couldn't recover the HST 7 boards, the 7.72 inch HST 6 boards, our G2 only 5 boards, the 7 boards there, and 6 boards there. You can see how tough wood is for JHP to expand. It tries to expand, zoom in on there, but just quite can't get there. The G2 out of the 4.5 inch, I think, did the best in terms of expansion, probably why it penetrated the least. Interesting. I figured I'd line all these bullets up so we could see what they look like in a summer view, so I'm not constantly going through extra footage to explain all this. But 3 inch, 4 inch, 7.72, and the 16 inch pretty much all look like they were not fired except for the rifling marks. When we get into the 3A, you can see that we're starting to deform that tip a little bit. Then our windshield glass, you can see that there's quite a bit of deformation going on there, which is typical from windshield glass, but they still penetrated quite a ways. And then we get into our wood down here. There is nothing wrong with the tips of those bullets, almost like brand new. I'm not going to take any macros of this particular bullet design because really there's not a whole lot that happened to it besides the windshield glass, of course. So you guys can see pretty well from right here what they all look like. Well, everyone, I hope all this data is useful to you one way or another. We had really good velocity out of this 80 grain loading. We've tested some other 80 grain solid coppers in the past that didn't have quite this velocity. So it's good that we're getting a better velocity out of these. We had exceptional accuracy with this particular bullet. As far as our gel results go, we met all of the penetration depths, right around the 15 to 16 inch mark in all of our barrel lengths. Against our level 3A, we had to step up to the longer barrels to get penetration. And then once we did, we stepped up to a budget-friendly but higher-end 3A, and this particular bullet just doesn't have the construction to get through. It's nice to see against our Winshield Glass that we still met minimum penetration depths, and there wasn't a whole lot of deviation from our point of aim after the bullet passed through the Winshield Glass. Our Box of Truth Pineboard test was rather boring. I myself quite enjoy these technology advancements in our bullet design. Now, there may be some people who are tried and true jacket hollow points in our pistol calibers, through and through. But there could be a scenario where you need better barrier penetration. With that being said, I think it's time for me to get on my way and get the heck out of here. The sun is starting to set. At the end of all my videos, I take a moment to thank all those who help make these possible. Number one is my Patreon supporters. Number two is Botash Tactical, who put me in contact with G9. Number three is G9 Defense, who again sent me that ammunition to review with no strings attached. And number four is you all for watching. Until next time, I'll catch you at the range.